parents? Okay, good, good. Actually, will be good for you. Use anything now? Not for newsletter. Probably use social media. This would be a great way for you guys to communicate because you've got a target audience and you've already got the emails, I would imagine. Okay. Ladies in the front, are you using anything now at the time? Using anything now?
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does. Thank you for pointing that out.
I want to learn.
Just doing it.
Are we ready?
Yes. Hey, Kathy.
Hi. It's ready for me to say welcome. So welcome. I love seeing all these faces on a cold day here at the incubator. Thank you for coming. One of our favorite and most consistent speakers is here with us today, Cindy Hagman. And Cindy is a guru of everything that has to do with LinkedIn, MailChimp,
Social media, marketing,
all sorts. So,
yep.
Without further ado, I will introduce you to Cindy Hagman.
Thank you, Kathy. It's great to see you. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I was trying to get a little bit of background to my audience before we started, and I found out, and here is Bill! Woo! I need to get a hug from this guy. Great to see you. I'm getting a handout. Bill, I'm going to get you one, too. Everybody get a handout? Okay. So, everybody here wants to learn how to use some type of email platform. And there's a lot of options out there. MailChimp just happens to be the one that I think is very user-friendly. And for the most part, it's free. So small businesses, nonprofits, this is probably where you want to start. It's free up to 2,000 people now. They've changed it. It was like 1,500. Now it's 2,000. So this is what it is. MailChimp's a web-based marketing automation platform. Everybody already knows what it is if you're here. But what you probably don't know is that you can set up your own lists. You can design, you can send lists to different people, meaning if, the school, for instance, the private school, you could set up lists for donors. You could set up a list for parents. And you could send out different emails to them. Some of them may interact and be on both lists, but what makes it nice is you can actually target the audience that you want, and you can tag different people. Hi, welcome. You brought lunch for everybody. You have a big bag. It looks like. So the other thing about this is, welcome. You guys need to get handouts that are over here. Anybody who came in late, not late, but on time. I don't want to point you out. You guys over here that came in late. So one of my favorite things about MailChimp is the analytics that it provides for you. So after you send out an email, I'll look at, what is her name? What's your name? Melissa's going to be my friend today, and so I'm going to pick on her quite a bit because I understand she knows a lot about this platform. And Melissa, I want you to feel free, and anybody else who actually uses this platform a lot, to chime in if there's something that, as I'm speaking, I won't be offended at all, unless you say I'm stupid or something. Then I would be offended. But say oh, and it does this or this. I'm perfectly fine with that because we're all here to learn, and I don't know. I didn't make MailChimp, so it changes all the time. And so what you just told her, some of the things about analytics was some things that I didn't really know about forwarding the email. So the analytics are really, really good, which means, that's a big word that just means you can track. When you send out an email, you can actually track who opened it, what time they opened it, how many times they opened it. If they never open it, I mean, it's, yeah, you're shaking your head.
They had a smile on their face when they saw it.
No, but you can tell if they're in their pajamas or not. No, just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. But that's probably my favorite part about it because there's templates built in that you just pick your template and you plug in your information, and then when you send out, it's called a campaign when you send it out, and you basically, right, Melissa, just sit back and just look at see who's opened it, and huh?
Just hit refresh over and over again.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't think it's kind of cool. I think it's really cool. Let me be honest with that. So you're selecting a group of people that you want to target market to. This is the one of the clinchers, though, is how many here get really sick of all the emails in our box? Oh yeah, show of hands. Sandy's the only one who raised her hand, but everybody else is like, yeah. And I'm one of them. But here I am, a proponent of email marketing. So you want to make your emails interesting and exciting, and you want to target the people who really are going to open it and be interested in it too. That's the tricky part of the whole thing, is finding your audience. The school back here, you have a built-in audience and probably have most of the emails that you already need. And you'll be building on it as you go. It's a lot harder for what you guys are trying to do with build a nutrition, based, because it's we all eat and we all should be interested in nutrition, but there's going to be people that are like, oh, that's not my thing this week. But I also am one of these people that I subscribe to a lot of things, and when I get emails from small businesses, and I know they're using MailChimp, or I always like to look at them and see what they're doing, and so I do it from the marketing side, so it's a little bit different for me. The consumer, the average consumer, is not even going to open some of your emails, or most of them. Yes?
I hope you didn't cover this before I walked in, I'm sorry. Is this also usable for an established group just to communicate with as opposed to market?
Yes.
Okay.
But you're still going to give me an example. What is your group?
Service club at the church.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else here with a service club or a church or organization similar to that? They would, because we had a lot of people come in at the end, and that would be really helpful. So we'll start over here with Mr. Bill.
I mean, you are trying to sell them on a particular.
You are.
Come to this event or whatever, but you're not trying to hit them cold.
You're not cold calling. Yeah,
No.
right. Bill, start.
So Bill Grinnell, American Red Cross Mountain Empire Chapter.
And Bill, tell me what you think you're here for, besides to see me.
Well, I was excited, and Sandy.
Okay, yeah, okay.
What I'm hoping for, I have been using MailChimp in the past. I kind of stopped using it for a little while because I had some challenges that were making it a little difficult. And I'm hoping that, one, that's been resolved, and two, you might have workarounds if it hasn't.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to using it to help send out messages to my volunteers.
Great, great. And you can pick my brain anytime about stuff like that. And or Sandy, she's really good with stuff.
I'm Erin Stonford-Bach, Straighten Up Bookkeeping. I serve small business owners.
And you want to grow your business. Great. Yes?
Ernest Daniels, I'm the Executive Director at the Community Center Management.
Oh, welcome. What would you like to do with MailChimp?
For tips and tricks with MailChimp as well.
Okay, hopefully I can help you.
I am Crystal Caitlin, the Executive Director for Habitat for Humanity, Washington County, and the Development Director at the Community Center. So with both roles, I do marketing.
Yeah.
We have MailChimp accounts at both places, but I am very unfamiliar with it.
Okay.
I sent an email, and that's probably about it.
You have sent an email?
I have sent one, but
Good.
I don't know anything about analytics or.
So you didn't get excited like Melissa and I do with the
I have
analytics.
no idea I tracked it like that.
Okay, well hopefully we'll get you excited.
Close it, and, I'm like.
Because you were like, send! Well, I have to admit, every single time I send one, I'm always, you got to look at the typos and look at, you got to have someone else read it, blah, blah, then you go, send, and you're like, but you really will, you'll have dual roles, but you should be able to do this. It'd be great. Hi.
Hi, I'm Jean Gallagher. I'm the administrative assistant here at the Small Business Incubator, and I use MailChimp to send you all notices about these classes and other marketing materials out to
for a while, Jean?
Since I started, which was the end of February.
Okay, well, good. You've got some experience then. You feel free to chime in as well. Yes?
I'm Karen Moore, I'm the arts administrator at the Arts Depot. We have 225 members, and we have an extended list beyond that.
Oh, good.
We use Access database right now. So my questions are, how can we import that data in MailChimp? Make it work for us? Is it easy to get the data over to the big list?
You have a big list. And you haven't used MailChimp yet?
Have not.
Okay. It should work for you guys, though. Yes?
Lindsay Berkeley, and I'm with Easter Eight Community Development in Milton City, and we're a housing organization. We work closely with low-income clients, and we're hoping to use it mostly with our housing clients.
It's great. This is going to be good for you guys.
Ellen Mueller with the Embedded Trail. We have someone who is using MailChimp to send out newsletters and announcements, but I'm trying to learn. So we have two people that can do that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing for you guys. So, and you need to learn it. Samantha?
I'm the administrative assistant with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, and we use MailChimp
So are you the one that does it, Samantha?
I do. We all do in the office, but I do use it on the
Okay, well, you're another one then. You chime in if there's something that I'm missing or something you want to add. That, I would love to hear feedback like that.
And I'm Dean Blake Cook. I'm the development director at Commerce Academy. And I haven't tackled newsletters yet, but I'm thinking that would be a great way to inform our donors what's going on.
Really would.
So
It really would. I think you're on the right track. Yes.
My name is Jared Smith. I am here with my wife, Amy Smith. We're a brand new startup. We're starting our release today, actually.
Yay.
For nutrition and wellness and health coaching as well. As us being brand new, we're just looking to grow the business, learn as much of this as we can.
Great.
It's very interesting to hear how many people have already used this.
I think you're right. I love that. I love that. And like with a lot of marketing things, they change them a lot. So when you take a class, you may want to take another class in a couple years, or sometimes less than that when you get to be more of a power user. And next.
I'm Todd Reynolds and work at Lab Optical down the hall, and I've known about MailChimp for a while.
Okay.
And I'll do some other things that involve, like,
Marketing?
I'm trying to think how to put it, the group text group emails for the board of this, the board of that.
Okay.
And,
Just through your regular email platform you do that?
yeah.
Okay. So you want to kind of move that into something like this?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm here anyhow, so I thought this would be a good
You're
place
here and
to
you brought
learn.
lunch, so you're staying at least until that's done. I think it's a good idea. I think you're on the right track with that. So what I want you to do is afterwards, and even during the thing, if you have questions pertaining to that, I actually work with some other people who are trying to do the same thing and get off their server and get into something like this. It's actually a lot easier once you do it.
I don't, it's not that I'm trying to get off my server, I'm just kind of like, what is this? How
You
would it
should
work?
get off your server because of the analytics. Then you know who opened it, and then you know who's unsubscribed. Because we'll go back to someone asking me before about the legality. You may have people on your email list who don't want to be on your email list, and legally, if you're doing it for a business, that's illegal. You actually are in violation of spam laws when you do that.
Oh, we don't spam anybody now, we just reply to direct emails, but we're thinking about spamming them.
Yeah.
I get spammed all day. Why
That's
not get it out,
hilarious. You're funny. I like that. All right, and are you going to admit you're with him?
Yeah, I'm with Lab Optical down the hall. We sell and repair microscopes, research microscopes, design optical systems, so on and so forth. And
you guys really do have a good target then. Your market is very
it's very limited.
Very
We're
limited.
worldwide. And
but worldwide. That's great.
Yeah, worldwide.
So we have to communicate by email.
Yes, you do.
And he's the CEO of the company.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Woo.
But I've never heard of MailChimp. I've heard of Trunk Monkey, but not.
Okay. I think that's a different class, but so you guys pay attention because you guys are in a business that you have to communicate worldwide, and this is the kind of thing that's important. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Larry Copeland. And
Hi, Larry.
I'm an intern here at the Jen Allen Smons Business Incubator. This is a new generation of communicators.
Yes.
So we're not going to go out and talk to people. This emails are very important for us.
You can still talk to people though, Larry, but this
Okay.
does help you talk to a wider audience, for sure. But don't ever stop talking to people, okay? Gotcha. It goes for everybody. And sir, oh, well, let me skip you while you're putting a bite in your mouth. Go ahead, Kathy.
I'm Kathy Littrell, I work for Bristol Development. How's everybody here?
Can everybody hear what Kathy said? And you use MailChimp.
We do. We actually utilize MailChimp for our monthly newsletter.
Monthly newsletter.
Campaign.
I like that. Are you a nonprofit?
Yes.
Okay, good, good.
And I'm Lisa Porter, the executive director of the House Authority Bristol. And Kathy does all of the MailChimp work that we do. We do campaigns in addition to the newsletter.
Oh, good.
I would love to learn how to do it as well and how to do
Be familiar with it.
analytics with it.
You've never taught her the analytics? Or looked at it? You look at it with her?
She usually just prints it off and gives it to me.
And then you're like, what am I looking at? There you go.
No, I put it in the report. But,
Okay.
I'd like to be able to do it.
Okay, great, great.
The analytics are great.
They are.
I'm Brandy Peters. I'm with Bristol's Promise. I'm new to the program, and so I've just got access to MailChimp, and hopefully going to be using it for some newsletters and some social media.
Good, good. Melissa?
So I'm Melissa Roberts. I'm with Bristol's Promise as well.
And what is Bristol's Promise?
So Bristol's Promise is an organization that has been around for a long time, but nobody's known about it because they look at needs in the community and form initiatives to meet those needs. So we have multiple initiatives, which is why I was talking about tags and the best practice on tags. Because
Good
if
to know.
we're working with our workforce sustainability, that's one e-newsletter, but our parenting coalition is a different newsletter. So, so we would need to do that. And there is some crossover and you can double tag under that, but I'm just
Yes.
wondering, for me, it's best practices.
And you can have separate lists too, but.
Right.
But, so she does know a lot about MailChimp.
Well, and I was just thinking about you. One of the things that I ran into.
She does this to me. I was thinking about your sandwich when it's time.
So I was thinking about you and how you're using it and why this might be useful for you. And I've used MailChimp for a while. I once sent out a giant newsletter and looked at the analytics and realized that like 400 of them had bounced. And I couldn't figure out why, but AOL was having a problem that day. And so all the AOL emails had bounced, and I knew that those people didn't get that email. So I was able to resend just to that portion instead of resending the whole thing. So that might be why it might be helpful for you with your mailing list.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can see benefits, and I hate Outlook, which is
Yeah.
now taking over everything, but not on this one. I don't think it is on this one now, but
Probably.
other computer is not Mac. And
Yeah, so sending out to a mass list through Outlook is not the best way for you to be marketing to people. You don't even know if people are opening it. This will tell you if someone's opened it. And you can tell they're excited about it because they maybe open it 3 or 4 times or forward it or something too. That's when you go, oh, they're really interested, Sir, can what's his name?
Yes, I'm not disturbing the class. My name's Alan Necessary. I own Sargent's Pay Lake and Campground and just opened up a new business, Appalachian Baits. The way I want to use this, I never heard of it. So with the campground, we've been in business for going on our 4th year. I've been mailing rack cards through the mail, and up to $200 to $400 a year.
Yeah.
I'm getting a good turnaround off of it through the Boy Scouts. That's who we cater to, Trail Life, and the Girl Scouts.
Oh,
For
good.
the campground. But I can see this is going to save me a lot of money. It's going to save me a lot of time also. And as for the Appalachian baits, we're looking for distributors nationwide to sell these baits to, and that,
Baits?
once again, trout bait. It's fishing bait.
Fishing bait. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
$1 billion industry. But anyway, that's something we're looking to hit nationwide. We've got everything up, and this is something I think that's going to work really well.
I think so too. You actually, you would be a good candidate for this. And he mentioned actually mailing things to people, and I don't think that should ever completely go away, but you might narrow it down to one mailing or a special mailing at the holiday season or something like that, and then continue to do your email marketing. Because there's something about direct mail that kind of has come full circle, because so many people get too many emails, you know, and they may not ever see them or open them. So don't ever discount that completely, but this could be your main tool for sure. And sir, in the front, you said you're with churches, with a church, and
I was an attorney and I finally retired a while back, so
Okay.
I'm all nonprofits now.
nonprofits
Jack
now.
White.
Jack White,
Yeah.
nice to meet
I've
you.
been to other programs in the city.
Great, great. Well, we're glad you're here. I think this will be good for. And you said a service club too.
Kiwanis, yeah.
Kiwanis? Oh, good, good. Okay, we love Kiwanians and Rotarians, or I do. Okay, good. So everybody had a chance, and I think you can learn from each other too. So, what one of the benefits of just going around and learning what other people do is you might even want to exchange business cards or something to see if there's something you guys could learn. Here's a bookkeeper over here if anybody needs bookkeeping services, you know, for that kind of thing. So keep all that stuff in mind. Let's help each other. So we're going to send mass emails. You're going to increase your branding. So one of the things, and we're going to go to the platform in a minute and go through it. So since you can build your templates, you can actually put your logo, you can use your colors, all of that kind of stuff that's real important to your branding so that people know it's from you. And that's one thing a lot of people don't get. Well, if you just send it out from your regular email, you don't get to brand yourself in any way, shape, or form. So it's just going out, you know, through Outlook. And of course, you can target the demographics that you're looking for by building the different lists or tagging different people. We'll talk about that in the analytics. We definitely talked about that. And you know how excited I am with that. So this is a little, when you go into MailChimp and you log in, there is actually all kinds of videos and so forth on there that you can learn from. And this is the link right here to one of them that you can go in there and it just walks you kind of step by step on how to do things. They've made it really easy for the most part. And you know, getting started with MailChimp is a guide and tutorial right on the MailChimp platform. And the other thing I wanted to, before we get too far, MailChimp is free up to 2,000 emails. After that, they ask you to, you know, they'll need it, you know, once you hit 2001, they'll probably start emailing you. Even when you get close, they will probably email you and say, hey, you need to, you know, buy this platform. Anybody on a paid platform with it? Are you guys? Anybody?
But isn't it services, features as well as numbers when you start paying for more?
Sure. You get more things, and there's actually a chart on this guide that tells you for this amount you can get this, and this amount you can get this. But for probably everybody in this room, the free is plenty as far as your analytics and what your capabilities are with it. I would think major corporations that we're going to send out to 50,000 people, then you know they're going to have a paid, and they're going to want more information. You know, small businesses do just fine.
Allow you to see people where they opened it and looked
Oh
at
yeah.
it, all that.
Oh yeah. I'm on a free one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll look at an account that I brought with me, and isn't? Oh, that didn't open up. Okay, sorry about that. It opened up on my page. I'll go. It's not opening up on here. Okay, well. Yeah. That's weird. Okay, hold on. Bear with me. What's up there now? See when I go to.
Look at the internet up here.
Yeah.
Open it and see. Might be too many people on it.
It says, is that you? That's you. It automatically connected. It's got full strength on it. All right, we'll just, did it change? Nope. Hold on. I just love technology when it works. Sorry, move that.
I was gonna unhook this.
Let me just, oh, I can't. Power off. Ah. Yeah, so, and we don't have to go to that link, obviously. We're not going to, but I can't go any further on this. So let's just go to, let's see if I can open up the, oh, wait, gotta.
Was it working when you first started?
Yeah. Was the screen changing?
You had it working before you hooked to the projector.
I'm sorry, guys.
So if you escape out of PowerPoint,
I'm sorry?
if you hit escape out of PowerPoint, it should take that down. You probably have the video playing.
I will just go into the platform.
Kathy, it's not,
No, it's not the input, it's the.
There you go. There you go.
I'm not even on it now. Let's see if it'll take this. Did it change? No. Did it change? No. Should I unplug?
I wouldn't rock the boat if you were me.
Oh, Kathy?
Hey, if you turn it off, the bulb stops, it's gonna take long, because the bulb will have to cool off before you can turn it back on. I'd just leave it.
It's not letting me go to the Google, to the platform, which is what I want to go to.
Then you need to get out of PowerPoint.
Get out of PowerPoint.
Yeah, please.
You're
come.
fine, Melissa.
Please come and help.
Go back to your PowerPoint. Right here. Oh, just X out of it.
No, well, bring that one back up.
Here, drive.
Your left hand?
Sorry.
Oh my goodness, okay, no, my husband's left-handed, I just don't know what to do.
You can
Did
close it. You can close any of that.
I didn't know if you closed, okay, it's back there now.
Is it? Oh, good. Okay,
Yeah,
we're
it
good.
was the PowerPoint, it's not the.
The PowerPoint was sticking, making it, but the PowerPoint wasn't moving. That's
Yeah,
weird.
but if
Okay.
you could have hit escape, it would have probably.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. So we're gonna go into. Why is this doing this? Okay, so we've got. This is actually MailChimp platform, and we're gonna talk about. I don't know why it's doing this. Hold on, give me a second. I need to get into my platform through MailChimp. Account. Here we go. Okay, so this is a client that I work with, and we have 261 emails in there, and see, of course, it tells you out of 2,000, so it keeps that count for you, so that so that they can get money from you when they want to. So if you ever get over 2,000, you've got to upgrade. This is how you do it. You just click here, and it tells you, what to do. So when you go into the platform, and you just let's look at some analytics here first, and then we'll look at so we've got here is a, this is an email that I created and sent out, and they call them campaigns on here, so you'll see the word campaign. So it was sent out November 13th at 1:30 p.m. to 255 recipients. So you get that much information. And then when we dive into it a little bit more, you'll have all the email addresses and the people you sent it to. We had 54% opens, and we had 4.4% clicks, meaning people actually went in there and clicked or bought something or did something. So this is an organization that's a nonprofit, and they're selling some things for the holidays for people to buy, obviously. So that's the purpose of that. The last email that we sent out was August 7th at 10:45 a.m. to 178 recipients. We've gotten more, and I'll tell you how we increased that in a minute. We had 62.9% opens and 22% clicks. So this email didn't do nearly as well as this one did, even though we had more recipients. So it probably went to more people, if you think about how that works. So if we want to view our report, we just go over here. There's some options here where you can view the actual email, you can rename it, you can actually do a replicate of it. So say I decided to send this email out again, the exact same email, and you can edit it, of course, but you would just click on replicate and it would pop up the email, and then you could just go in and make your changes and send it out. So
is there a possibility that the first email was more compelling to look at, attractive, or do you think it was all the new people you put on?
It's hard to say. I need more of a track record. But that's a good point. So you look at the time of day you send it out, you look at the day of the week, and after you have some consistency on things. If you also do social media, like Facebook, for instance, you can actually go into Facebook and look at the analytics of when people are really looking at your stuff. That gives you good information on when the best time is to send this out. So, typically they say Fridays are terrible for obvious reason. Nobody's thinking, weekends are not so good. Mondays are not so good either, so they usually say try to stick to a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. The time is usually up to what you're doing and who your target audience is. You're targeting business professionals, and I would say definitely Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday for you. The time of day you're going to have to play with a little bit and see what works for your end user. Do you do social media now?
Just getting started.
Melissa, do you guys do social media? Yeah. So have you looked at your analytics on your Facebook and based that? So that's...
So we know between 11 and 1 is
okay. That was exactly where I was going with this. She's already figured out. And is there a certain day a week that you...
Usually Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, see, here you go. So 11 to 1, which is lunchtime, that's really interesting because her target audience is on during lunchtime for the most part, which makes sense. I have a client who their stuff goes crazy like after 5 o'clock on like a Tuesday, which makes sense too when you think about it because people are off the clock. You don't want to think about them using social media on work time, but they do. But also depends on your demographic of your end user. If your end user is under 30, it's going to be a whole lot different than someone who's 40 and over if your target audience is them. So that's good information. Have you guys ever done anything like that? Do you have a Facebook page or anything?
Our e-newsletter targets a different audience.
Oh. That's interesting. So you've actually studied that. Yeah.
Our industry colleagues are the ones who are targeting the and our residents and our customers are the ones who are
Of the other social media. Makes total sense. Yeah. So I don't know if you heard what she said, but she has two different audiences. She says her Facebook users are one audience, and then the people they target with email marketing is like a total different audience for the most part. And that's an interesting way to put it and to think about it too. So don't just strictly base everything on your social media unless you're just targeting your clients, customers, and they're all like kind of the same. But that's a really good point. So here's the information on our open rate and our campaign, and that particular campaign, that last one that I sent out. So where we have an open rate of 54%, our campaign performance, your average. So that one was a little bit lower than all the other ones that I did. And what it's doing now, this is something that's kind of new. And I don't pay a whole lot of attention to this, but it does tell you, like, it's saying, oh, someone in your peer group as a nonprofit, this is what their average is. So if I just based it on that, I'd be like, well, I'm doing pretty good, with my 54% on that, or my average of being 58%. Does anybody know their averages? I was just curious. Because you're probably at the 40% down here. If you're my peer with the nonprofits, right? You can strive to be like that, right? But that's good information. That's really good information for you to study and to look at and to figure out, how can I get that higher? I mean, 50% is really good when you think about it. I remember back, this was 5 or 6 years ago when I took a marketing class, and they were saying if you can get anything over 30%, you're doing good, which I thought was tremendously low at the time. But I think this is a good model, and I'm glad that they're doing that. So when you set up your account, it'll ask you if you're nonprofit or for-profit and ask you some questions about your business. That's what it's basing the peer thing on. So you won't be based against a nonprofit like this, but you'll be based, they'll try to line you up with peers. It's not an accurate science, but it's pretty good. It's helpful. The other thing, that's on my open rate. So then you've got your click rate. So I was real low on my click rate on that one. Here's my peer group over here at 5.2%. And this one is 11%. And then you've got your unsubscribes, which are really.
The click rate means you assume you have a link in there, one or more links leading someplace.
Yeah, and if you're sending something out, you should try to always have at least one link. And even if you're not selling something, you want to drive it back to your Facebook page or your website or something. It's a call to action where there's something. This particular email was selling to nonprofit, like an engraved paver for people to put at a 1800 schoolhouse, and then some wall maps that they've done for the history of. So this was actually a selling, so the click rate was extremely important here, and it was really low. This is an interesting thing too. It says it works on your demographics over here. So I really, my demographics in this particular one is also very similar to the Facebook one. So I strive to look at my analytics for Facebook on anything that did really well, any posts that kind of went organically viral. When I say that, it means I didn't pay to boost it or pay to have anything extra done to it. And so I look at it, and 65% female is almost exactly what the Facebook page thing is too. And look at my age group, 55 and older.
How do they know I'm 55 and older?
Well, they know everything about you, Kathy. They know your blood type. They know, yeah.
If you have other social media pages and you've signed on to those.
They also look at what your behaviors are and the things that you click on. Here's an example of how they look at everything. This past year, my two daughters both had babies, which is fabulous and wonderful, and I became a grandmother. So obviously I was clicking on baby stuff, and then the next thing I know, I get, an ad for being pregnant, and I'm like, ha ha ha, So they knew that I was interested in baby stuff, but they just weren't sure exactly why. The age thing comes in with some of the other stuff, and everybody, they know when you sign up for this stuff, right, Jonathan?
They're paying for data from other places.
Yeah. And how many times have you ever looked on Amazon at something, and the next thing you know, the Amazon ad for what you just looked at comes up on your social media page, or even on a different page? That kind of like, ooh, I'm always like, no, stop. They do know, and it's part of marketing. And being a marketing person, I get it and I understand it, and it's important for them to be able to sell to you or to find nonprofit things that you're interested in too. When those Facebook things come up for you, with Giving Tuesday was just yesterday. Did you get inundated with Giving Tuesday stuff? I think more than this year than ever, I have to say. But if you donated to any of those things, you're going to start getting all that stuff in your news feed. So then, they know, they track us. I get it, but it's annoying at the same time. So here we go. This is your real numbers. And this is what doesn't make me feel bad about having a low number, is 136 people did open up that email. That's a lot of people, considering we only have 250 people on our list, and it's a really small nonprofit. So, we started from nothing. I had 0 emails a year ago, absolutely 0, and I've had to build. So I think having 255 emails is a lot for this particular group that only has 80 members to begin with. So when I took over marketing for this organization, they were struggling. They've been around for a while. They're a foundation that provides historical information for the schoolhouse in upstate New York. And they said we only have 80 members, and they're not renewing, and why they're not renewing is people were passing away who were these sustaining donors, and the younger generation, for the most part, doesn't really see a reason to join something. They don't want to be a member. They don't understand that whole membership aspect. So my thing with them, and it still hasn't happened, but is to come up with a reason to join, like have level of memberships, and maybe they get something for free when they join a certain membership, so there's something to offer. And if you have a nonprofit, I encourage you to keep it sustaining, to think of things like that, of something you could send, or it still hasn't happened with this group, but I've been working with them for about a year. It was a year in October, and we've come great strides. I'm doing their Facebook page too, and we went from, they had a Facebook page that had 35 followers, and we're up to 1,200, I think now, and it's mostly organic, just inviting people and looking for people. And we're talking about a really small group now, really, really small, 5 board of directors, so it can be done, and I feel like we're reaching a lot of people now versus a year ago, and that's what you want to do. This is all part of reaching people that you may not normally reach, or maybe you do see, maybe they are on your Facebook page, but how many people see every single thing that they follow on Facebook? Nobody, unless you go up and say you're going to follow that and you want to see their stuff first. That's the only way that you're going to see their stuff first, and otherwise they may or may not see it. At least with an email, you have a better chance of getting in front of them for something, and then if they opened it because of this. And let's look at this. So 136 opened. Here's all the people that opened my email. And you can see, you get the person that opened it, they opened it one time, you get this information is all stuff. This one's in the UK, which is great. I would never, even if I was mailing things out, which this organization was mailing everything out, just like what you were saying, sir. They were doing quarterly newsletters, they were doing end of the year newsletters, and they were spending a lot of money, and the money wasn't coming in to substantiate that. But so we've been able to touch other people in a further, net, so to speak. So what I'm going to do, this is kind of a cool thing. You can click on things and see, who opened it. And when you go to yeah, here we go. This is what I was looking for. When you go into this part down here, the number represents how many times they opened your email. And there's some of these people, as we get going through this, who, we've got 2, 3, 4. Look at, here's somebody who opened it 115 times. The what? No, I think they were looking, and actually she ended up buying a bunch of stuff. So the 52 times, 24 times. I mean, this is, that's if. So here's an example for you guys. If you see these kind of numbers, even 5 is a good number. 4 or 5 is a good number. But when you see these kind of numbers, somebody's really interested in what you've sent out. So those people, you might need to step up. Maybe put them on a mailing list to do a direct mail instead of sending it out to all these other people who, these people are paying attention to what you're doing and they're looking at it. So what I anticipate probably happened was she probably opened it up a few times and looked, and then at Thanksgiving, because I sent it right before Thanksgiving on purpose, she probably showed it to all her family and friends because these were all things about history on this island with people who had ancestors. And so she's probably like, hey, look at this, we probably need to do this for grandma or so that's the, and then I do know that this turned into at least one sale because I have it all connected to a PayPal and I get all the sales on it, so I don't.
Have to key that in when people buy something, or is there an automatic?
There's nothing, well, it's linked. It's linked. They don't buy from this page. What my goal, I'll show you the email and we can go through it, but my goal with this was to send out an email with links to the website where they can purchase the item. And then so then they're driven off from MailChimp. I always had to open up a new window rather than, the people who've used it know what I'm talking about. Because when you add something, it says you want a new window. I always click yes. And so then it drives them to your website, to your page where you're either doing your solicitation for something. In your case, so you could do membership or you could do donations, and you could drive them to a page that's built on your website that's just for them to fill out, to complete, to become a member or something.
Sign up for a dinner or something.
Yes, yes. But that's a whole different, that takes them off from here.
How does it know if you click through to that, but you don't complete it and sign up? Does it know that?
This one does not know it, but your analytics would, because I'll show you. Let's look at this email. Maybe that'll help you with understand it a little bit better. Yes. So we'll walk through it, and we'll walk through this email that I sent out, and I think that will help you understand a little bit better. Because as soon as you click on something, it takes you to the landing page that I had created on the website to purchase these things. So let's look at the email. View email. Okay, so here's the actual email. So if I'm reading this email and I'm going through and it gives me all the information, all it says, I think, oh, this is really good. I'm going to look at this. And it says click to order. So then it opens up the page on the landing page on their website to actually order these items. And when you click buy now, it takes you to PayPal. So it takes you down. But all of that is tracked through, my purchases are tracked through PayPal. And then the MailChimp tracks how many people actually opened it or clicked and went. But PayPal, that's the golden. That's what you really want, is the donations or the purchases, So I go into my PayPal, their PayPal, to see the actual people. So like if I go here, like you were saying, and then I never click buy now, it never goes to my PayPal, obviously. And so then it's just, it's not, it could be considered a lost sale, but it also could be considered, these are people who are interested. They went this far and they read about it. So the other link on here is for these pavers that they're selling. And this is you can click on here and it takes you to the page just for the pavers. And then you can click down here to order them. So they were selling these pavers, and they're a really cool idea. I think they're redoing their sidewalk, and they decided to sell these brick pavers as a fundraiser, which you see those every once in a while. People can have them engraved for their ancestry or for their kids or grandkids or whatever for the island, but they were doing everything 100% just through mail. So everybody had to send a check in, and the only form that they had, to complete was just a form that they'd have to send to you to fill out, or when there was a meeting. So they had started this last summer. So in 2018, in the summer, I heard about this fundraiser they were doing, and I was like, what are you doing to sell this? And they were like, well, here's the form, and this is how you fill it out, and then you just send it to us with your check, And I thought, well, this is great. There's a certain demographic that will do that, but we're missing a huge demographic of people, who want to just click and pay online, and I'm one of those lazy people that I don't even know where my checkbook is. And so this was very foreign to this group. And I had to convince them to get on PayPal, or we wanted to use some type of organization payment system. PayPal ended up being the one that I got them to use, and I went through as a nonprofit and filled out all the forms so that the fees are lower for a nonprofit within PayPal versus a for-profit. There's still fees, but they're lower. So that was their big thing, is they did not want fees taken out. They wanted 100% of everything, and I'm like, everything is going to charge fees. Every single thing they have to, So that was a big convincing thing. So just the fact that we got this far with being able to do this was huge, because they try to raise money for scholarships and these events that they have too, and the money was just not there. And every year when this thing first started was back in, I want to say in the late, like maybe about 1995, and it was a total different world back then when you think about it. Everybody did fill out these forms and send in your checks, and all the people, and this organization I got real involved with because my late mother was one of the founding people with that. So that was.
Well, you've been to the island.
I'm a property owner on the island.
Oh.
Yeah. And.
They say the only way you can get there without taking a boat is when the river freezes.
Yeah, you know about Grindstone? The thousand. Oh, yeah. It's the Thousand Islands up in between New York and Canada. It's a really beautiful place, but I wanted to try to help these people make more money, and so I keep track of all the sales online, and I will tell you, since we did PayPal came on board like in November of last year, and we've raised about $30,000 through PayPal, just with donations and selling things and with their events. And those are just PayPal. Now there's fees taken out, so they probably got about $25,000 of that or whatever. But that's money they would not have had. That was my big thing to them. So don't be afraid of doing some of these things if you have to step out and have some kind of an online payment system. I'm not saying that PayPal's your answer. There's lots of them out there for you to research, just like there's lots of options besides MailChimp out there. But this is where you need to be to keep things going, not only to get the information out there, but if you're trying to raise money for your nonprofit, or even with your business, there's probably an avenue that someone could pay you online. And one of the ways you get around some of those fees too is just charge a little bit more if you don't want it to eat into your profits. So, you know, if somebody's bill is $150, you charge them, you know, $160 or $165 to offset that fee. You can find out pretty easily on something like PayPal how much your fees are going to be, and then you can adjust them according to that, and it makes it really easy for everybody. You know, any questions on this stuff right now? Yes?
How much percentage would you say is online compared to traditional mail for that fundraiser?
Oh, for the fundraiser?
Yes.
I don't know the exact answer to that, but I know that we've done a lot more online, but I don't know, because I don't get the checks, and it goes to them up there. But I know they've been really happy with the numbers, and I send them the PayPal numbers, and I mean they, you know, every month, you know, like I do a little spreadsheet and say this is who's purchased, and this is what we've made. These are the fees that have taken out because they're really into like, oh my gosh, they took $3 out of this, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but you got 50 out of it, you know. Let's look at the upside.
No free lunch.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Except MailChimp is still free. So, you know, I keep wondering, you know, looking at their numbers, if that's going to change at some point. When you look at their numbers, we'll do that right now, about what their fees are now, it's gone up a lot. Have you looked at their numbers lately?
They do have discounted rate for nonprofits.
Good. Thank you for saying that. And when you get to that 2001 person, and you've got to pay, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to know.
Those actual emails, 2,000 emails, or are they actual email subscribers?
Subscribers. That's a very good question. Thank you. That's your subscribers. So on here, I have a list set up as just a general mailing list. But when you're setting up, here's your, they do a lot of stuff on email. When you're setting up your audience, for instance, you can make lists on here as long as the combined isn't more than 2,000. You still have it for free. And when you set up, so here we talked about tags a little bit and how you can tag people. This is something that I really like to do because you can really look at these a little bit better. Let me show you what that is. Let me go into my audience, my general mailing list. We're going to view our contacts. So here's our general contacts. I only have one list in here, and you can sort it by like last name. Now this is what you have to do when you're setting up. The only required field is an email address. I'll say that again. There's only required field when you're doing your list is an email address. You do not have to have a name. I think that's interesting, you know, because this is an email-based program. It makes sense, but I think you should also have a name associated with it. But I actually inherited a couple of these and never got names with them, but I added them anyway. So, you know, what I did was gather lists from the treasurer of this organization and from the membership person, you know, on the board, and said, I want all your email addresses that you have, and so I can enter them into here. And I physically entered the 255, which isn't that much really, and I didn't do it all at once. It was in segments, but you can also download Excel forms from an Excel list into MailChimp. So if you've got a huge list and you don't want to sit there and take the time, or you don't have an intern who can do it, interns are great for this, by the way, then you can actually go through the process of entering your audience and importing it in there. Now, let's look at this. So we want to right here, do you see that? I'm at the audience tab. You can import your contacts from here. You can manage your contacts. You can view your audience. If you want to add a subscriber, this is what you do. You just add, oops, my cat lock's on. You just add an email address. And because you can see the little dot, the little star, that's a mandatory field. But when you look down, there's a lot of other information that I think it's important to capture too. First name, last name, their mailing address I think is really important, you know, if you can get it. Phone number is great too. Who was talking about text messages? Somebody was talking about, were you talking about text messages? But you can, you know, text messages are another marketing thing. I hate them personally, but you know, that's another thing. So tags. So this particular person, I just put my email address in here, and you can go in and create a tag. You could put, you could put member. You could put whatever you want. So I've got tags for this one. I've got alumni who used to go to the schoolhouse. We had a big winery event. I added a tag for that so I could tag every single person that went to that event. So like if I wanted to add that tag, I could just do this. If they were a board member, see this is how easy it is once you add the tags in there. We've done a lot of contests on Facebook and given away these pavers and given away these maps that were done. So that's another way that you can generate email addresses. So I run a Facebook contest and give away a free map, okay? So the maps are sold for $15, but when they were printed and designed, and there's a huge profit margin in those. So giving away one of those is not that big of a deal. There is an app that I use for Facebook contests, and I'll have to tell you the name of it later when I'll have to look it up. But it goes in with my Facebook page and I can use it up to 7 different Facebook pages. So if you have a couple, and it costs, I think it's like $10 a month, and you can pretty much use it as much as you want. It's a very, very good app. So this is what it does. You can start a Facebook contest, and when I'm trying to capture email addresses, I'll say to people, and I'll say, hey, we're having a Facebook contest. We need you to click here, and then it takes them to the thing, and then they fill out a form that I created. Puts their name on there, their email address, and they're entered to win. And at the end of the contest, say you run it for I like to run contests for a short amount of time. I don't like to run them for 2 weeks or anything like that. I mean, 5 days is max. And the end of it, you can see everything that you have, everybody who's entered, you can see all the entries. If you have a lot of entries, it'll even put it in an Excel format for you if you need it to, and it'll draw your winner. If you're doing a random draw and you click when you're ready to do it, you can have more than one winner if you want, and it'll randomly select someone from that list and give you the winner, which is great because then you're not playing favorites or anything like that. And I highly recommend the contests that can go on to generate email addresses and also followers to your social media pages too. The last contest that I didn't do it for emails for them. I did it and I asked them I wanted engagement. So I just asked them to like the post and to comment why they liked the Grindstone Island. And we had, and we're talking, again, let's go back to this is a small group of people, and we had 500 comments, which is, normally we might have 2 or 3. So that was a lot. And so it's just kind of a way to, depending upon what you're looking for. I toss it back and forth. I do these contests for different clients, but this one in particular because they actually have a physical item to give away. It's very easy. If you don't have a tangible item that's easy to ship or give away, you can give away a gift card or something like that. When I used to work at Eastman, this is when I started getting into the Facebook contests because they were doing them quite a bit there. I worked in the specialty plastics division, and we would have water bottles that were made out of the Triton plastic. And we had a huge following, obviously, on the Facebook page, but we were trying to generate more. And we started using these Facebook apps that you could generate the information. Because then if you have a bunch of people that comment or do whatever, fill out a form for you, you can use an Excel spreadsheet that's based into the app, transfer it all over, and you've got all this data. That's how they get the data when people sign up for all these little contests you do online, like, am I blue or am I black or am I, purple? When you see people do those, they're gathering all that information from you, what animal am I, what spirit animal or whatever. When you do those, they're gathering that information from you. So, keep that in mind when you're doing it. There's a reason behind it. They're not just doing it to be fun. Yes, sir?
That box, there are two of them on the left there to be checked. Can you explain that?
Oh, the email given permission on the bottom here?
Yeah.
The
Is that true of every person that goes on every list of that you have to certify that you have their permission?
Yes.
Is that something that's honored in the breach?
Yeah, so here's the thing on that. If they're a member of your organization,
Well, there's no problem there.
right. And I put people on this list who have liked the Facebook page and have interest in the Facebook page. They have not given me permission per se, but if you did a Facebook contest, which I have done, where you can actually add that form, you can add.
The corporation sends out 50,000 of these. How can they check that form for 50,000 people?
No, well, if you got 50,000 people, you're going to be in a different form than this. Because you're going to go up a level, and it's going to be a whole lot different on that. Okay. But legally, they're supposed to. We kind of talked about this before we were live. That legally, you're supposed to have their permission to send them an email. There's an anti-spam law out there that, Jonathan, there's zero enforcement on it. Obviously, because if you look at your own emails, you can tell that they're not. You didn't sign up for all those emails that you're getting. So the spam police are not going to come to your door, knock, 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 you need to come with me. However, we do want to be mindful. One of the things that MailChimp is excellent about is if somebody unsubscribes from your list, they're gone. You cannot add them back onto the list. Ever. I mean, you can't. It won't let you. It'll say this person has unsubscribed.
Emails that are sent out through MailChimp, is there some sort of legal mumbo jumbo at the bottom?
Yes.
That kind of
Thank you.
And along with that, and maybe it's changed, but I recall in some of my earlier uses of it, I had one email that for one reason or another I had 5 or 10 people either unsubscribe or maybe even had one complaint about something. And I got a nasty gram from MailChimp wanting to get affirmation that I had these people.
And what did you do?
I said,
you got off MailChimp.
No, I haven't been using MailChimp for a while, but that was for an unrelated reason.
Yeah.
But I just said, yeah, it was either an accident or, I don't know why they're upset or something.
You didn't have to, yeah, I've never had one person ever, do what you just said.
Yeah.
I have people unsubscribe.
I think there was one point where I had 5 or 6 unsubscribes on one email.
One email?
And that flagged them as something maybe.
Oh, okay. So maybe it put it in a different category. So this is the bottom of this particular email that I sent out. And the question was, so here's your legal mumbo jumbo that it's already there, and you just physically go in and put your information where where it is. Down here here's your unsubscribe from this list. By law, every email that goes out to a group of people has to have that on it. If you get an email from a business or and it doesn't have an unsubscribe, they are in violation of the anti-spam. At least you're not. People can also update this, their preferences. It can take them to maybe they want to change their email or something, or maybe they want to add something, or maybe they got married and they want to change their name or something. Very rarely do you see that, but every once in a while you get an unsubscribe. If it's a nonprofit and people really do care about it, you don't see a whole lot of those unless you're sending too many emails. That's, I wonder if that happened with you. Were you sending a lot?
I don't think it was too many. It was, perhaps it was that particular one, as I recall, was an email that probably was for a narrow group, and it was too large of a
Oh, okay.
of a band of people.
Okay, so that's a really good point of making your lists appropriate to your end user who's going to get it. So be thinking of that too. That you may not want to send a blanket, the same email to everybody. And that's a good point. I get sick of that too. I had something recently where I noticed I had signed up for something, and then they kept sending me the same emails of, don't you want to get this, don't you want to get this? Well, I had already done it, and it was real annoying. And that sometimes is, that's people not really paying attention on the, that's really being mindful of if someone's a member of something or already joined, you probably don't want to keep hitting them up for the same thing. That's when they do get, I don't want this anymore. But this is real important when you fill this, to fill out this, all this is here, down here. This has to be filled in, but it's there, it's already embedded in there, and you just put your information in there. And by law, you have to have an address on here, a physical address. I have a P.O. box, but it's, and I also added the email address in case somebody had a question on something. That was just something I had added. I also connected the website here and their Facebook page here. When the social is all on MailChimp. There's all these little dots, and you can take them off. Or if you have Twitter, you can add your Twitter account. If you have Instagram, you can add that link. It's real easy to do that. So these are the part of the things that are interesting here. Let's look at when you want to create something. We're just going to do a campaign. And then this is what you go through, and it says, who are you sending this to? And this is where you add your recipients. If you have several lists, this is when you would look at your list. You already know what the email's kind of going to be about before you sit down to put it out.
Can you go from one list to another so you don't have to retype it? Can you have a central list and then say, let me check off the 20 I want to get this?
You would be better off having separate lists. So if you've got members, and then you've got like prospects, or and then you can have one big general mailing list with all of them on there. But when I was showing you how to add someone on, what I didn't show you was if they're already on there, it's going to come up and tell you that email address is already on here. So you can't put a duplicate in there, which is good. But what you can do is, say I just had an email address for somebody, but those 4 email addresses or whatever that I had with no names. Say all of a sudden someone sends me the information, I'm like, oh, I've got Susie Smith, blah, 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 blah. I start putting her in. It'll come up and say, this email's already on here, but do you want to update the contact? And that's actually really good because now it's going to throw that name.
My question is, if you had 100 people, hypothetically,
Okay.
and 5 different categories of things that you would be communicating with them about. And this one person is relevant to 2 of those 5 categories.
You would have them on both lists.
But do you have to type everything twice, or is there a way you can pull from one to the other?
I think what you're asking is not what MailChimp does. You're saying that you want to put all these 5 different things into one email. I think you have to create a different campaign for each topic. and then you can add the recipients.
Well, take a church, I'm just hypothetically, you got the choir members, and that'd be one list, and you got one where everybody's a member, and then the choir members, and then the.
So you just want to target your choir?
Huh?
You just want to send something to your choir?
The choir, you got 150, 200 of the members on the main list, the choir's got 30, 20, whatever.
I
And you
believe
just
that's
wanna
the
pull those
segment
out.
function.
Yeah, so you can segment them into, and say, well, these people are in the choir when you go into your list. Melissa, how would you handle that?
They go get the general stuff, and they go get choir, and they go get one other one too, that they're involved with.
Well, I think that can be, that's what I've been using tags for. So
Yeah.
for us, we have our trauma-informed care, community of care group, and they're all tagged as TIC. But then we have like, our parenting coalition. They're all parenting, but they're all, so for some people, we send it to everybody.
Right.
But if it's just the trauma-informed care,
Right,
it's just
that
all
makes
tags.
sense, sure.
Yeah, we just tag them as that.
So you
we
segment
send it out to
them
that
by
tag.
tags, is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. So
I mean,
you
that's
could have one great big list of, let's say, 1,999 people.
Right.
And each
That's a
one.
difficult number.
Right.
You can round it up there.
But you can tag them, so.
But each member then, you tag, so we do, let's say, New Knowledge Business Challenge,
Yeah.
our own newsletter, so you would tag BHSBI newsletter if that's all you wanted them to get.
Right.
Or some of them get everything. This is
Right,
this
so
is
you
just ABCs of that databases.
So you can
Where
send
you
it
can
to.
extract certain ones from the database, and then extract a different group from the database, or you send to the whole database.
So you can send one email to people that you've tagged as choir and deacons, but not the entire church database. So that's how I've been using tags, is it's just these two groups or these three groups because they have tags. And so I may be in there as both choir and deacon tags. So I'm only gonna get that email once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is just database,
Right, right.
You're used to that.
Yeah.
Put them in, and I want all the people to have blue cards on this one, and all the people with red cards on that one, whatever.
Yeah, and you have to initially put everybody in there and then decide what category, or you can have separate lists too. You can tag or you can do lists.
The problem with a separate list is it's too much people.
Well, I think his original question was, every time you have the same person in a different list, you have to re-enter their information from scratch. And I don't think I think that you can just make a new list and then check that person's box and it beats that list.
Yes.
So you only have to enter their original information one time.
Yeah.
I
You
think
can
he was
add them
worried
to
about
different
doing that.
lists.
Right. But I
Yeah.
think he was worried about having to add their information.
No,
multiple times
no,
for
you don't
everyone.
have to do that.
That's sort of like on Outlook, when you're adding a new address, you can put that address in a group. as
Yes.
You're adding it, and this is what you're talking about.
Same
now.
thing. Yeah. Yes. We got it. We're all on the same page here. So when you're doing a campaign, I just named this one test, which is a terrible name, but you would add your recipients, and you choose your audience, and this is where you would have a whole bunch of people allegedly. I'm just gonna send it this one because this one's me. If you wanted to personalize the field, now I want to hear from everybody who's done this. Do you personalize yours?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate personalization. I'll just be honest with you, because I can't tell you how many times something's gotten mixed up, and you get an email for John, or you get an email. My husband's name is John, so there's times when sometimes our emails are mixed up, or he'll get one for. So I am not a proponent of personalization, but if you like it and it's worked for you, that's good. I've been offended too many times by having the wrong thing and being the recipient of one that's my name spelled wrong, or something's, or when you've got an audience of people and you don't have all their names and you just got email. When you personalize it, it'll say, "Dear Cindy," blah, 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 but it would just "Dear," and it would be a blank. If you don't have, you see what I'm saying?
4 people that didn't have a name on your list.
Those 4 people would be "Dear blank."
Yeah, so
No.
what I've done with that is, when I have someone that I don't have a first name for, I'll go back and I'll put something like "Friend of the Red Cross."
Okay.
And then You know, like you though, I have had issues with personalization where I've gotten offended, because whenever I receive an email that says, "Dear William," I know they don't know me.
Yeah. If somebody calls me Cynthia, I'm either in trouble or, you know, they don't know me. The same thing. Yeah, it's funny. That's up to what you guys want to do. I think in theory, it's a great idea to personalize things. I mean, everybody likes the sound of their own name, they say, and blah, blah, blah. But it can go wrong, so be really careful when you're doing that. But that's an option. You don't have to do it. You can uncheck it. You know, you can just...
Generally, my lists have been small enough I've been able to know the people.
And that's a really good point. Like if Bill's sending something out and his list is small enough, he can go in and make sure that, you know, my name is not in there as Cynthia, you know, that it's in there. Oh, what's a Cindy?
Or
you know?
John.
Or John, yes. Well, and my husband's Jon. He always gets offended because no one ever spells it right, and it's always, you know, John. And he's always like, well, they don't even know what they're...
International clients in China, and sometimes we can't figure out which one's the first name and which one's the last name. You know, 'cause it comes
Do you
out
ever
different every
do you ever
time.
have just symbols for their names?
Yes. Yeah, we have
Yes.
some, we've had it all.
Yeah, and I don't know what you would do.
And printing their shipping label is a fight.
Yeah, and then taking it to the local post office and like, oh, okay.
Well, you know, cut and paste sometimes on that, and the printer doesn't even, the computer doesn't.
It doesn't recognize it.
that and won't print it.
Yeah, wow. So then you go in and you can add your, you know, who's it from, your subject line. Your subject line is one of the most important things. This is what's going to come across their email to make them want to open it or not. Yes?
Is there a way to put your logo in the from or the subject line?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Anybody? No, because when you get, no, not that I know of. Do you know, maybe that's with a paid account. You know, I don't know. I've never seen that. But but you have an email address there too. That's another thing that, so I tell people this all the time. You're a good example. Can I use you for an example? Sure. She's a bookkeeper, right? And she's an independent bookkeeper. So in her situation, instead of using your company email, you might consider using from your personal email because it probably has your name in it.
My company one does too, Erin.
Okay. All right. Bad example. Sorry. See, personalization of stuff. You know, you can't always be predictable. But what I'm saying is, if you're sending out an email to people and you want people to open it, sometimes they'll open it if it's your email with your name versus a business. Does that make sense? Then your subject line. Now, MailChimp tries to help you with your subject line. So when you put in a subject, say that one that I was sending out about selling the pavers, if I put something like, you know, buy pavers now or something, no one's probably going to open that because I'm selling and, you know, it just sounds terrible. But you know what I put in the subject line every single time is Grindstone Island, because the people who are on this list are all people who love the island for whatever reason. Either grandparents came from there, their parents, whatever, you know, and they always like think, oh, Grindstone Island, you know, like, so think of a way to kind of mix it up to get people to tug at that heartstrings. With the nonprofits in this room, you can kind of be thinking of different campaigns that you might be using to inspire, that tugs at that heartstrings that people, you know, might look at it. With nutrition, you got a great opportunity in January to kind of start hitting people up with all of us who've gained so much weight over the holidays and how we need to get detoxing and thinking healthy. So those can be triggers for you. MailChimp does have a thing in here. I've used it a few times. Anybody had success where it says, let us help you with your, you know, they try to keep it short and keep keywords in there, but they don't know your industry. So you can take that with a grain of salt, and their advice on, you know, they try to give you advice on this too long or you're not using the right keywords or whatever, but you kind of have to, you know, be mindful. It's also where your analytics come in too. You know, sometimes people don't open an email because they look at the subject line and they're like, well, I'm not going to open that, you know, and if someone's selling or, you know, They know, oh, I'm not interested in that. And then when you go to your content, the, oh, it's not going to let me do that.
Cynthia?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the subject line?
Did you call me
Cindy?
Cynthia?
I called you Cynthia, sorry.
Did we just go through this? Am I in trouble? Yes, ma'am?
What are your thoughts on the emojis option that it allows you to put emoji in the subject line?
I never do that.
It has, the problem is that on some places, it'll come up as a really weird symbol, and so it looks like it's a foreign email, and people will just delete it, because it's not cross-platform, so I typically avoid them.
I avoid stuff like that. Plus, you want to be professional as possible. And I've seen that before. It's like a little weird box thing, like dots, that, and you're like, what is that?
And it looks like phishing or something.
Yeah, it looks like something's trying to invade your computer. So I would be mindful of that and be careful of it.
And then it also gives you an option for like a second line
Yes.
under the subject. Do you ever put anything in there?
I don't. I usually just try to keep it as short as possible. I feel like people are on their phones and they're going to decide in like 2 seconds sometimes whether they're going to open your email or not. And I try to just keep it very short and to the point, and obviously you want them to open it. I'm just going to show you the design platform real quick. Obviously we're not going to design anything, but these are just all the templates that are available. There's just so many of them just with the free. You can do themes. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff out there. So you can change any of the pictures that are on here. It just gives you the basic template of this is where a picture goes. This is where your text goes. This is, so like, I mean, it really is, it's nice and it's very helpful. So let me just click on this and show you real quick. The, come on. Did I pick one that's, okay, here we go. Okay, so I can change this logo to my logo. I can change this color here, this background color. I can change this picture. I can change, you know, here it just pops up and here's how you change it. And you go over here and you know, you just put in what you need to put in. And then you click and you save it. It's that easy. Down here where, you know, if you decide, you know, I don't really need this extra block, you just delete it. The, you know, the same way with any of this stuff. Here's the part I was talking about. You go in and change this. If you don't have Instagram, you just change this and you take the Instagram logo off. And on these, you just go in and put your link on here. So it's already started it. And you just go to your Facebook page. Sorry. And just copy and paste your Facebook, you know, page on there, and then it's going to match up and link into your Facebook page with that little logo up there. It's that simple. If you don't have Twitter, you just get rid of it. Down here is where all your legal mumbo jumbo is that I was telling you about, that you have to have. You leave this part alone, except for this. I don't do the rewards. Does anybody do rewards?
And you have to, it's a free account.
I don't do it. You don't have to. It's an option. Huh?
Is that you're talking about the MailChimp?
The rewards program that they have.
Oh, okay. No.
I don't do it, but I just take that part off. This part you leave alone, and this part you put your mailing address. You just back off from that, put your mailing address, and then you copyright. It's telling you what to put here, and you just take that off. It's that simple. And then, you know, if I don't like this color, I can change this color. You can load your logos and your images into here. Make sure you have your logo. Make sure you use your company colors. Unless you're you guys with the purple theme going on, this might work. Oh, on my screen it looks purple. Up here it looks red. But you know, that's how simple it really is. It's when you go into it, it's very intuitive and it kind of walks you into it. You know, so right here, if I want to put my own logo in here, I would go in and I'm like replacing this. And then here's logos and stuff I have in here. So I could just replace it with this. And if I needed to adjust the size of it, it helps you with that. And then, you know, it's just that simple. the you can change the image. And this is all with the free account. I mean, it's a lot that it gives you, but you've got to play with this. You can take some of their tutorials, which I would suggest you to do, but you've got to get in here and play with it too to see what works for you. And I would also advise you, we're out of time, is to make your emails templates very consistent looking with your brand, with your color, your logo. Always use your logo. Always put your website on there, Facebook page, things like that, and have a color scheme that pertains to your brand that you use consistently. You can change your template up and have it look different, but keep your similar consistency. When I open an email, I want to know it's from the Red Cross instantly because of the way it looks. Same way with you guys. Thank you all for coming, and if you have any questions on anything, you can see me now because we're out of time and a lot of people need to get back to work. And but thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.